I'm sure we've all seen the Ty Mitchell, Tommy Robinson dust up in Dubai prior to Ty Mitchell's fight. Yeah, what can you say? Before I go in, do like the page, like and follow the page, and like and follow the YouTube, Instagram, etc. Yeah, so basically, this was in Dubai prior to the Andrew Tate Chase Damore fight, the Misfits boxing card, and basically, as it stands, there was a confrontation between Tommy Robinson and the Misfits fighter Ty Mitchell. Obviously, you know, the exchange occurred during Tommy Robinson's pre-fight interview. Well, not a pre-fight interview. He wasn't fighting, but it was an interview that took place before then. And obviously, you know, it became a big thing, you know. For those who don't know, those overseas, Tommy Robinson is a far-right activist, the most prominent far-right activist in the UK, who has very strong views on immigration and, in particular, the Muslim community. And obviously, yeah, he's in Dubai, and this is where Ty Mitchell, the guy who confronted him, obviously, yeah. So let's get into this. Let's get into this. Let's get into this. The most obvious question I'm going to ask, yeah, is Tommy Robinson, you're anti-Muslim. You quote or shall I say misquote the Quran. Okay. You're vehemently against Muslims, irrespective of how you try to style it and spin it. But yet you're in Dubai. Make that make sense. That's like David Dukes, the KKK, going to Africa to hold a conference or going there to live, whatever it is. That's the madness. You know what I mean? Or, you know, one of those far-right people, you know, like Trump saying Somalia is a SHIT hole and then going to hold conferences there and going to live there. Make it make sense. I mean, there's another guy, Ant Middleton. Yeah. He too, you know, lives in Dubai, claims to be an English patriot, and obviously, again, you know, is against immigration, you know. But they don't see the irony in the fact that, well, in his case, he's an immigrant. Makes sense? And with Tommy Robinson, you're calling out Muslims, and yet you're going to a Muslim country. And the worst thing is, he said his family's there. So you brought your family along. Boy. Too easy. And I like the way the guy, Ty Mitchell, gave him a little cuff, you know what I mean, a little push, you know what I mean. I see Tommy try to turn around, but he knew, listen, it's not like he's with his boys and he's got his little backup and he's attacking one or two little people on road, or he's playing a big man and he's, you know what I mean, this is different. He's one-to-one in a camera, and more importantly, in a foreign country, it's a different ball game. And a Muslim country at that. So once kick off, then trust me, it'd be a no-brainer. That country will probably, you know, work out who he is and just keep him there in a cell. You know what I mean? Just drag it out and just keep him there. You know what I mean? They don't play over there. You know what I mean? And they know where their bread's buttered. So if anything, they'll be siding with Ty Mitchell. But hey, anyway, let me just go into a bit more. Yeah, one of the things that was said, which was interesting, was obviously it went from a generic interview, I guess, to like the discussion between Ty Mitchell and Tommy Robinson, and like they're talking about, obviously, you know, Ty saying, you know, why don't you call out Caucasian grooming gangs. And he's made a good point saying they do the majority of it. Tommy's saying, no. His usual talking points. Saying, it's, then he's talking the usual stuff, talking about Muslims this and going into Muslims this and Muslims that, and just trying to get into it. But I wasn't having it. Because why don't you call out Caucasian grooming gangs? And he doesn't, does he? He goes, and he said, key point, he said as well, the majority of them in mass are Caucasian. And Tommy goes, yeah, it's true, and he agreed. Then he went on to say it's because the majority of Caucasian people are white in the country. But hey, that's another argument. That's another discussion. You know what I mean? But lo and behold, that's when they got into it. You know what I mean? So, boy, it's what it is. I mean, let's look at it, yeah? When you look at some newspapers, yeah, and you see the PDFs, yeah, more time than not, they're Caucasian. And as well as, obviously, in some cases, dare I say it, of Asian appearance. Okay? But, who has the higher numbers, what's the greater percentage, that's all arguable. Okay? That's all debatable. Okay? But the bottom line is, yeah, I mean, Tommy Robinson. I'll say this, yeah, moving the conversation on a bit, yeah. One thing I will say about Tom Robinson is that people have his back, okay? He's consistent, yeah? When there's an occurrence, I guess he's on it. And the people who behind him are consistent too, okay? I'll give him that. Whereas you look at the Black Lives Matter movement, there's inconsistencies there, as I've shown before in previous videos. You can't pick and choose your battles, You can't choose and decide, I'm going to choose this. No, I'm not going to battle that. I'm not going to back that. Or I'm going to back this. I'm not going to back that. Or I'm going to back this. No, you got to be consistent. That comes down to leadership and organisation. So I'll give Tom Robinson that. I'm being fair. Fair and balanced like the Old Bailey. Come on. I've got to say it as it is. Okay? And he does have some points. He does have some points. But in terms of his comments towards the Muslim community, I don't know. I'm close up in the Muslim community. And for me, those people are beyond stellar. These are the best neighbours you could ever have. If I'm away from my home, something goes on, I get a phone call. This happened to your car. This one here, your family member. This, that. They're on it. The best people you could have around you. I mean, even the police have said, you know what? This part of where you are, this part of town, yeah, I love it around here. I said, why is that? This happened after my car was broken into. Yeah. And the car was like, not actually in the neighbourhood, actually. This was when we spoke at mine, when I came back into East. The policeman said to me straight, everybody here looks out for everybody. And you can't do nothing around there. Because the neighbourhood watch is so strong around there. And that's again because it's a Muslim dominated area. If you're in with them, they look out for you. Simples. I personally think some Asian guy took Tommy's girl or something, you know what I mean? But hey, another conversation. But no, it's a joke. But no, seriously. I'll say this. He does have clout. As you saw with the riots that took place as a consequence, or was it recently the riots that took place when there was a big swarm of reaction? Yeah. Over here in the UK, there's a big swarm. Yeah, where they was going through towns up north attacking ethnic folk. Yeah, he was behind that. He's the one who drummed all that up as a consequence of the Axel Wadi Cabana incident. Okay, so let's break it down. Does he have clout? Yes. Some of his talking points, yes and no. Okay, I'm going to say yes and no because obviously I don't agree with his comments towards Muslims, but in some other aspects, if we're saying, for regarding, let's say, housing. And obviously you got English people on the streets, and it's, for your argument's sake, it's true that people come over and they're getting all the best housing, the hotels, etc., etc., etc. There's a logical aspect of sense in that, okay? We'd be a fool to disagree that there's no sense in that. But the bottom line is this, yeah. The bottom line is this. Okay, back to the video. You know, there you are, insulting Muslims, coming at Muslims, and you're there in a Muslim country. Make it make sense. Like he rightly said, make it make sense. And that's all I've got to say on this. All right, let me wrap this up. All right then, later.